Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Today we have a Hot Wheels 61 Chevy Impala. Now I saw this car on the peg at Walmart and I said, you know, that's a pretty darn cool looking car. And I really like the paint job, but the plastic wheels suck. And I said, you know, this would be a perfect candidate for a wheel swap. And maybe a little bit of detailing too. Well, I've got a bunch of little tips and tricks ahead for you here, and we're going to take this car and we're going to turn it into a classic. Now, it's like I said, it's really sharp looking. The paint job is absolutely beautiful, so there's nothing I want to do with that. But we got a wheel swap plan, we got a couple other little detail things, and a couple tricks I want to show you. So let's just go ahead and get started with this custom build and let's have some fun. So please stick around. Since there's not a lot of painting involved or a lot of paint stripping or anything like that, I'm going to go through some of the things that I normally cut out. Here we're drilling out the post. I have my 1/16 inch drill bit and we're going to drill past the mushroom bend of the post. Make sure you clean out your drill bit enough so it doesn't get all clogged up. Flip the car around and do the other rivet or post there if it has two. It may only have one, so you'll know when you have it. Like I said, here we're just drilling past the end of the little post, a little mushroom on the end. Now we're going to substitute the drill bit and we're going to put in a 9/64 drill bit. Now this one here, as soon as you start to drill, that drill bit is going to bite into the metal. And it's going to bite hard because it's hollow on the inside. Now this ring here popped up, but it didn't separate all the way. But we should still be able to get the base off with no problem. So let's go ahead and flip it over and do the other side. Here it's starting to bite, and once it starts to bite, you want to start to wiggle it. There we go. And that's what we're looking for right there, folks. That little ring. Somewhere it is. There it is. That little ring. That little ring right there is what holds the post onto the base of the car. Now it should come apart really easy. Well, I say that. Let's go ahead and get a screwdriver. We'll pop it. It should come up pretty quick. Make sure you don't bend the axles or anything. Okay, that ain't come apart. No problem there. Got to be really careful. You don't want to bend the axles if you're going to reuse them. And we do plan on reusing these axles. Alright, so we take the car apart. Like I said, this paint job looks excellent. So we're going to go ahead and keep that. I really like it. And I love the shape of this car. It's an old classic. Interior is brand new. The windshield is brand new. We're definitely going to do a wheel swap. You got a beautiful car like this with a plastic base. Unfortunately, I don't have a metal base. And the plastic wheels suck. Now, I'm thinking about putting some type of sequins inside the headlights. So we'll get to that point a little bit later. Now, here's a cutaway I have. That shows the post and it shows the mushroom end there. And this is where, you know, the back end is kind of sanded out a little bit too far. But this is where, of course, you're drilling, and drilling enough to get your screw into your post. Now, you don't want to drill too deep, but you get an idea of how long your post is, and then you might want to go ahead and mark your drill bit. That way there, you'll be assured that you're not going to drill through the other side of the car, either through the hood or through the trunk. Now we're switching back to that 1/16 drill bit. Take your time, make sure you're drilling square, unless your hole is off center. And then you can bring it back to the center. Take your time, drill it out, and clean the drill bit frequently. That's starting to look good. Every so often, stop and check and see how deep you've gone. Because sometimes these things will go through fast. Other times it seems like it's taken forever. Now this here, this drill bit, I marked it with a Sharpie marker. You can see the little black mark in there. So I know that if I get up to that Sharpie marker, that I'm not going to go past the end of the post and drill through the hood of the car. See how it's all clogged up? There you go. Just take your fingers, and pick it out and clean it out. If it's clogged up like that, it's not going to drill anymore because the shavings have no place to go. So you have to make sure that you clean it out really well. Okay, let's move on. Now that we got both holes drilled out, we're going to go ahead and tap those holes for 1-72 screws. Take your tap, just put it in a little dab of motor oil there, and go ahead and tap out your post. This will help lubricate it as it's cutting out the threads inside the post. I got this tap handle at brightvisionwheels.com. This thing is phenomenal. I own several, and the only reason I own several is because if I happen to lose one, I've got one in spare, ready to go. So go ahead and go to Bright Vision and get one of these taps. You won't be sorry. Just a little tiny dab is all you need. Now, somebody says, well, why don't you use WD-40? You know, sometimes I just grab it, but it's not really oil. It's more of a penetrating fluid. So it's not recommended that you use WD-40 on these taps because this motor oil works better. Now WD-40 works, but the motor oil works better. There you go. Just make sure you clean your tap out too. All right. Now we're going to test the screws to make sure that they go in all the way to the end. Always test fit everything. Make sure that you've done it right because you want to get all this drilling done before you go to put the car back together, or especially if you're going to paint the car. Do the tapping and drilling first, then paint the car afterwards so you don't have to worry about ruining your paint job. Okay, they both fit great. Nice and flat and even and centered. Good to go. Now we're going to talk about the wheel swap. Here I've got these little snips, and we're going to snip out the little plastic retainers holding the axle in place. Put it on there, take a snip. It pops right out, look at that. Same thing to the front. Take a snip. They pop right out with ease. Look at that. Now we're going to save these axles. I'm going to show you why in a little bit here. We found these, well, these are the nasty wheels, but again, we're going to save the axles. We've got the base taped down and in the air, so when you put the wheels in, they don't touch the ground. I found some of these tires off of a Real Rider. I can't remember exactly what car I got it off of. But we're going to put these on and we're going to make sure they fit properly. Okay? Now, this axle that I'm using, look at all the extra play in there. Now, there's two things you can do here. You can shorten up this axle, you can put an axle tube in there, or all kinds of stuff. But the axle that came with the car is the right length, or at least for these wheels anyways. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut the end off this axle, and we're going to take the wheels off that we're going to switch them with. Same thing here with this axle that was on the car originally. All we're going to do is snip off the little cap on the end. Alright? Take those old wheels off. Put the new wheels on. Make sure you put them on properly, because once you do this procedure that I'm going to show you here, if it's not on right, you're going to have to find another axle or cut it again. There you go. Now, make sure that your axle is all the way to the end. It won't go any farther. Then you're going to take these field wire pliers. They're very heavy duty. You're going to put them in the very end, and you're going to pinch the very end. Now these pliers are good for this because they're very strong. And all you got to do is squeeze really hard, and it's going to flatten out the end. There you go. Look at that. Well, we're going to trim that up just a little bit because it's a little bit cockeyed. There we go. Now you can even file that down just a hair if you want to. That's good enough. There we go. Now, when you put these new wheels on, look how nice they fit. And they're not going to come off that axle. There's a nice tip for you right there. Those feel wire pliers, they're fantastic. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. My friend Javier at Diecast Show Customs, I saw him using these things, and they work fantastic. There's a good tip for today. Now, here's another tip. Here we've got some super glue. Zoom in a little bit here so you can see better. Make sure your axles or your axle is centered, and use the gel super glue. Just a little tiny dab. There you go. And then I'm going to use this Instaset. Now I got this stuff at Hobby Lobby, but they also sell it on Amazon. I put it in this little feeder bottle here, because if you spray the Instaset, it makes a big mist everywhere like you sneezed, all right? But with this little bottle, whoops, look at that. All right, fortunately it wasn't dry. Just make sure that it's centered again and you'll be good to go. Take the Instaset in that little feeder bottle and put a couple of drops. Boom, you're done. And you get to place it exactly where you need it, and it's good to go. Yeah, well, feeding that little wire back into the tip is a little bit tough. So like I said, there's another tip for you. Use the Instaset and you'll be good to go. If you use the liquid super glue, it will travel down the axle through capillary action and could glue your wheels in place, and you definitely don't want to do that. Rolls nice, look at that. Those wheels are nice, those are sweet. Now go ahead and check your car. Look at that. Those wheels look excellent. Man, they go good with that car. And we didn't have to do any altering of the base either. That's the best part. And they roll underneath there without rubbing against the car. That's cool stuff. Now, I got a little bit of super glue here, and I'm going to put a little drop in the headlights. Then I got these little micro sequins, and I'm going to put them inside the little headlight area. That'll look nice. Look how cool that looks. Just a little micro sequins. I believe that these are 1 millimeter, maybe a little bit smaller. But I got these at Joann Fabrics. No, I take that back. I can get them at Joann Fabrics, but I got these off of Amazon. And I actually ordered a big kit with all different kinds of colors, so you can do tail lights, you can do the signal lights on the sides of the car, everything. That looks pretty awesome. All right, we'll finish the other ones and we'll move on. Okay, we got all 4 of the lights there in, the sequins, all 4 lights are in. That looks really nice. I'm very pleased with that. That looks absolutely awesome. Now we're going to detail the tail lights. I've got a Sharpie red paint pen, and you're just lightly dabbing that on there, being careful. Now, I'm getting older, so my vision is starting to go away too, but I use a set of head magnifiers when I do this. And even if you're young and got super good vision, these things will definitely help you, folks. Especially if you're doing the detailed work like this. Sharpie red paint pen. There you go. Now they do have paint pens that got the, got the extra fine tips. Okay, here's the sequin kit that I was telling you about. It's got all kinds of different colors in it. Now, one of the things that I'm going to go over here is I learned a lesson really quick, and I should have remembered, but I'm going to share it with you. The white lights that I had on there all fogged up because of the super glue. Okay? They all fogged up. So we're going to have to remove those because I don't want them looking foggy. I want them to look really cool. And then now I'm going to use this Tester's model glue, and I'm going to put a little dab on a piece of paper here, and then I'm going to use a toothpick or a piece of wood, and I shaved it down, and I'm going to put just a little drop of glue inside where the headlight goes, and we're going to go ahead and replace the headlights. Now I decided to go with yellow lights this time because they stand out a little bit better. Now the reason I'm telling you this is because I made a mistake. I don't want you to see me using super glue and then you try it and go, Paul, he's full of crap. Well, yeah, I am full of crap sometimes. But with this here, I wanted you to see that I made a mistake. And this is what I did to correct it. The super glue works good on areas that don't have any clear plastic, like windshields and things like that. If you get that near it, the super glue is going to fog, and it's going to give off fumes, and it's going to cloud it up, and you definitely don't want to do that. Anyway, so I got the Tester's glue here, and I'm replacing the lights with the yellow sequins to make them kind of look like fog lights. Plus I says, hey, these actually look pretty good. So I was pretty happy with having to redo them and making them look that much better. So that turned out pretty cool. We'll go ahead and get the rest of those done. Now, hey, look, they are done. Look at that. That looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Well, this is what we started with. This really nice, cool looking 61 Chevy Impala with the plastic wheels and like that. Beautiful car. Mattel, come on. Come on. Make the cars look good, please. And we're going to go through and we're going to do the wheel swap. We're going to detail it up and make it look really, really cool. And this is what we got to. This beautiful purple metallic 61 Chevy Impala with the taillights all detailed out, the headlights all detailed out. That looks excellent. And the wheel swap turned out fantastic. Guys, it doesn't take a lot to customize a car. And when I say guys, I mean guys and girls, because there's a lot of girls that watch these videos too. And more power to you. There's a lot of things that you can do to these cars for a cheap price to make them look really good. Like I said, like a simple wheel swap or a little bit of detail in the headlights and the tail lights. Maybe a little strip of black across the top of the windshield to simulate a, what do they call that, window tinting to make your car look that much better. This looks fantastic, and I'm very happy with the way that it turned out. And just for a few bucks, you made this car look great. And it's going to look great in any display. Fantastic. I'd like to thank the members of my Patreon team, the Diecast Graveyard Patreon team. Jim Silva, check out his YouTube page. He does some great builds. Stacy Wright, thank you very much. Daryl Begtel, thank you, sir, very much. Hope you guys are doing well up there in Indiana. Michio Woods Garage, thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. Please check out his Facebook page. He sells a lot of Hot Wheels and other cars for a very good price. Please check out Michio Woods Garage Facebook page. We got Aaron Murphy out there in California with his new bride and his family. Good luck out there, brother, and hope you're staying healthy. We've got new Patreon member, Ed Ostrander. Welcome to the Graveyard team, please. Thank you. I mean, I'm spellbound here and very humble. Thank you so much. Mr. William K7 Robinson, we did that unboxing. Thank you so much, sir, for your generosity. Jake Rademacher, thank you, sir, for all your comments. And Mr. Sam Pascal, new recent member, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining. Here Diecast Graveyard. I've been having a lot of fun knocking out these videos for you. And like I said, we're going to do a lot of videos to keep you occupied while you're sitting at home waiting for this national crisis to pass. God bless you folks. Thanks again and take care.